Morning mofos, welcome back to the channel. It might not be morning for you, but it is for me. I'm just off to meet Pete, Mr. Hippodromes. We're out for a ride to get a spot of lunch, but that's not what this video is about. This video is an update on this thing, the Honda NX500. I've owned it now for 10 months. We're coming up to 8,000 miles, which means it's booked in for its first service. That's in 1 week's time. So what I thought I'd do on the way to meet Pete, because we're about half an hour away, is just ride some nice country lanes, have some fun, and talk to you guys about this and what it's been like owning this bike over the last 10 months. And what I should also do is pull over in a minute and I'll go over some of the things I've done to this bike. I know if you've been to this channel before, I've gone through it on other videos, but if you're new, I just thought you might like to know the things I've done without having to go back to check an old video. So those of you that already know about the things I've done to this bike, on that bit of the video, bear with me. You might want to watch again, I don't know. Welcome back. Still a glorious day. Fantastic. Even if it's cold, I love days like this. And being on this little thing here just adds to it. Right, so let's check the actual mileage. We've done 7,640 miles so far. I'll let you know what I've been averaging miles per gallon. We are averaging 70.5 miles per gallon. And that is over the entire distance that this bike's travelled. I've never reset it. I don't on my bikes. From day one, I keep the average miles per gallon unreset, if that's a thing. I don't know what I was going to say then. How do you kind of explain that? I never reset it. There you go. It's a lot easier to explain that way, isn't it? So it's not too bad. And that's a mixture of touring and quite a bit of commuting as well. So obviously the commuting brings it down. When I did the Scotland trip, I think I was averaging about 79 miles to the gallon at that point. Right, so before I show you guys around the bike, what I should do is tell you the things I like about the bike, and then I'll tell you the things I don't like about the bike while we're having this glorious ride. Let's start on the things I like. Let's start on a positive note, and then we go to a negative note. And they're not even that negative. I'm going to pre-warn you, there is no hate, just a little bit of negativity. Right, so let's start with number one. Not that there's a number to this or a list or in ascending or descending order. I'm just going to start there because number one's the first thing. So number one, the looks of it, the aesthetics. I really like the look of this bike. Hence I bought one, obviously. There's something about the look of this I really like. When they changed the front end from the CB500X to this, it really floated my boat. Now I've had two CB500Xs in the past, the original ones, the ones with a 17-inch front wheel, and I love those. The 19-inch front wheel I skipped. I didn't have a CB500 before this. I had 3 Africa Twins, a CB1000R, and I think a few other bikes. So it's not a continuation, but when this one came out, I loved it. And when I test rode it, I thought, yeah, I quite like that. And with the crash bars and the Denalis on the front, it just makes it a little bit more chunky. Because I'm a big lad, you see. I'm 6'2" and I'm 17 stone. And I would say I'm probably too big for this bike. It's not the tallest bike I've ever owned, but it is comfortable. Anyway, we're not talking about that, we're talking about the aesthetics. Yeah, I love the look of it. I love that stacked headlight. And it's weirdly not an exciting bike. It's not exotic. But I still have a little look back when I park it up in the garage or park it somewhere. I have a little glance back and have a nod to myself and go, yeah, I like the look of that. And that's a good thing. I bought it as a workhorse, so to like the look of it is an added bonus. Another massive positive for this bike is its frugality. Is that a word? I might have made that up. It's miles per gallon. It's only got a small tank-ish, 17 litres or 17.5 litres, but I think I get around 230 miles before the light flashes, so 250 comfortably. And I've heard people push these bikes to nearly 300 miles to a 17 litre tank, so that's fantastic for touring and going out and doing long distance rides. because that's basically what this is. Well, it is to me. I know it's an ADV bike, or it's in the ADV section of Honda's list, but it's a street bike. I'd call it more of a tourer, street tourer, than an ADV bike. I mean, you can take it off-road, you can put it in gravel, but that's about it. I wouldn't go further than that. I have taken it off-road with road tyres, and yeah, it was a little bit squirrely. And that's one of the reasons I bought this bike. I came from an Africa Twin Adventure Sport to this, and that has a massive tank, so that had a big range. And I've got a 200-mile cut-off. If I've got a bike that I want to tour on and go and explore on, I like 200 miles in the tank. I don't know why, it's just one of those things. And the funny thing is, about every 100 miles I like to get off the stretch anyway, so it makes absolutely no sense. But it's my mind and I have to deal with that. So when I did the Scotland trip, this bike was absolutely fantastic. I think I calculated all the petrol costs for that at £181, and that was nearly 2,500 miles. So that's not bad at all, is it? And that leads you onto the engine, this little engine. I mean, this will be in my dislike category as well, but it's in my love category, or like category, because I like this engine. As I said, it's nice and frugal, hasn't got a lot of power, it's tractable, it's easy to get on with, it's nice and smooth, the gear changes are nice and smooth. You could just plod along all day, 50, 60 mile an hour on roads like this, and it's absolutely glorious. And when you want to have some fun, you can rag the nuts off it and it doesn't protest at all, not one bit. It's actually quite a fun place to be when you're tearing around. And again, it's one of those old sayings, isn't it? What's better, a slow bike fast or a fast bike slow? I find it engaging riding this bike around like a little bit of a lunatic. It's just fun, because you look up and you're not going to go to jail. Well, not that often anyway. Let's quickly dip back to the aesthetics, and this dash area here I really like. I like this little bar here that you can clip your phone to and use it as a GPS, or even clip your GPS to. There's no rules to what you've got to clip on that bar, but it's just handy having a little bar. So you've got enough power for the overtake. Yeah, this whole little setup here with this 12-volt charger here, I wish that was a USB charger, but it's not the end of the world, you just get an adapter. And that's handy for powering your accessories on that bar. And because it's not attached to the handlebars, you can get a short cable so it doesn't have to move all over the place. I've got the screen in night mode because I like it in this black mode. The white one, I don't know, this black one kind of suits the bike better. You have got different things you can do with the dash. You can change the graphics, this is the one I prefer. So that's nice. It could be a little bit bigger, it doesn't really go to the edge of the screens, but it does the job. It has also got connectivity to the phone, but I don't ever use that. I tell a lie, I have used it once in the past. When I got lost, I just connected my phone to it and used a little sat-nav thing from my phone to the dashboard here, and it worked well. It's not in-depth turn by turn, street by street, but it does the job. And you can also control your music via this little switch gear here. Do you know what, we're bouncing all over the place here, aren't we, with likes and dislikes. I suppose the small screen is a dislike, but I like the screen, so that's a like. So I think we're going to float between the two. We're going to kind of mention one thing and I'll tell you the things I like about it, what I don't like about it as well. Because I think if I just do a list of things I like, then things I don't like, I don't know. There's some things I can't mention at the time when I'm doing the first list. So there you go. Anyway, welcome to the channel. For those of you that wanted a professional outlook, you're not going to get it. This is what we get. We bounce all over the place. Hopefully not down the road. Nice. These bars are nice. I like them in this graphite black with the black front end and the black dash. It's just nice. It's a nice place to be. It's one of the main things for me on a bike is this outlook, because this is where I spend most of my time. So I like the dashboard area and the handlebar area to be really nice and well thought out. And this is, it's all simple. You've got the switch gear on this side with a little illuminated joystick type of thing. I do wish that all the switch gear was illuminated, but it'll do for now. Comfort wise, when I first got on it, it was a little bit small. I found it small, but as I said, I came off an Africa Twin Adventure Sport. I also own a CRF 250 Rally that's had the suspension done, so that sits very high. I think that's about 900 millimeters for the seat height, whereas this is quite low. So it took me a little bit of time to get used to it, and on long journeys I do get cramp in my hips because I've got long legs, but I just dangle them down and kick things on the floor. It's not the end of the world. The seat was not that comfortable when I bought it. It kind of pushes you slightly forward, so I didn't like that, but I bought a cool covers seat cover for it, and that changed everything. Once I put that on, game changer. It's now a lovely place to be, really comfortable. It does get a little bit cold in the winter because it blows air around your nether regions. You can't beat a mangina on a cold winter's day. Some people complain about the vibrations on this bike. I don't get them, but that may be because I've got crash bars fitted, I've got heated grips which are slightly thicker, and I've also got these Barkbuster handguards, so I wonder if they do a job of dampening out the vibrations. I get a little bit around the 70 mile an hour mark, but at 73, 74 it goes away, and at 68 it's not too bad either. So you just have to be either side of the 70 mark and it's pretty good. Right, just come to the petrol station where we should be meeting Pete, and I can see him there already. I don't know what bike he's on. He's on Daffy. Let's run him over. Well, I didn't expect Pete here this early.
Did you expect me to be late?
I expected you to be late. I shall do the walk round when we get down to West Beach Cafe. That's where we're heading for a bit of food. So let's get back to talking about the NX500 and the things I like. I like the colour, I like the way it looks, I like the way it handles, I like the way it rides, I like its comfort, I like the miles per gallon I get. Do you get the feeling I like it? Well, you'll be correct. Are there some negatives? Only slightly, and they're kind of picky, so they're not negatives really, they're just having to give you some content for the video. Can't love everything, can you? Unless it's me, of course, because I'm extremely lovable. See, handles okay, isn't it? I have changed the tyres on this. I've got Dunlop Mutants on. I've got to say, they're fantastic tyres. So a massive shout out to Dunlop for supplying these. I really appreciate the support you give to this channel. Right, so let's quickly run through some of the negatives, or the not so nices, let's put it that way. One is this charger. As I said, could be a USB charger. It's 20 at 25, and we're still doing 12 volt cigarette type chargers. This is only going to be brief, by the way, and just little niggly things. The screen could be a little bit bigger and could be more customizable, just for the fun of it, and to make it a little bit more interesting. It is a bit boring, but it does the job. The back end of this bike I find a little bit dull and boring, but as I said before, I don't really look at the back, so it's not important, is it? The mirrors I don't like the look of, but they're bloody fantastic, so they're staying. I did buy some... What are these mirrors called again?
Double take.
Double take. Right, cut that bit. Right, let's try that again. I did buy some double take mirrors for this bike, but these mirrors do such a good job, I haven't put them on yet. Professional. Thank you, Pete. He's my technical guru. As I mentioned before, the seat, I didn't like it at first. I didn't find it that comfortable. But once I put the cool cover on, it's a nice place to be. This whole bike could do with being a little bit taller, but that's not the bike's fault. That's my genetics, unfortunately. Oh shit, there was oil on that corner. Right, the engine, the bits I don't like about the engine are, number one, the sound. Being a parallel twin, it sounds a bit pants. It's nice with this exhaust, it does add a little bit of depth to it, and I've got used to it. It's a nice little bit of crack, and it's got a little bit of burble on the overrun as well, which is nice. But I prefer a 270-degree crank. Just gives it that deeper, meatier sound, whereas these standard inline parallel twins sound a bit weedy. But that's personal taste again. Also the engine, it could probably do with about 10 more brake horsepower, but again, it's not a deal breaker, it's not the end of the world. They have to keep it down here for the A2 license, so that's fine. As you can tell, all these kind of negatives are just nitpicking, niggly little things. They're not the end of the world, they're not deal breakers, they're not even really negatives. They're just little annoyances. I'd say the biggest negative on this bike so far has been the chain. Now that is partly my fault. I have neglected it quite a bit over the winter, and it's been quite salty and it's got a little bit rusty, but I've done that on previous bikes and I've never had a problem. Whereas this, I think I'm going to have to change the chain when I do the first service at 8,000 miles. And as I said, that is 95% my fault. I've had to adjust it since I got back from Scotland in October. I think I've adjusted it at least 5 times in the last 3,000 miles, which I've never had to do on any bike. So what I'm going to do is change it for a better quality chain. I mean, they've got to save money somewhere, haven't they? These are not expensive bikes, so definitely not the end of the world. And as I said, it's kind of my fault. I think that just about covers everything. I'm going to drop in now what I've done to the bike, the walk round, and show you some of the stuff I've done to the bike. But I'm going to do that a little bit later, and we're going to time travel back to this point, and I'm going to drop it in now. Right, let's have a quick run through of the bits I've done for the bike. So we've got the crash bars on there, which are the Honda ones. We've got Denali spotlights. We've got SW Motec bash plate. We've got the fuel exhaust. We've got the Givey back box that is on the SW Motec rack. I've changed to Mutant tyres. I've got the cool cover seat cover. We've got a tank ring by SW Motec. What else we got? We've got Oxford hot grips. We've got the Ultimate add-ons case for my phone. I think that's about it. So anyway, that's some of the little things that I've done to the bike. I hope you liked it. I hope that covers anything. If you have got any questions, just drop them down in the comments section and I'll see what I can do to answer those for you. You have to remember, I'm 6'2", wide in the shoulders, long in the legs, I'm 17 stone, so bear all that in mind when I'm coming to the conclusions and the opinions I come to. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share, do all those things that you need to do. Also hit that notification bell so you guys can get the drop on these videos. I shall see you on the next one. You know I love you all, stay safe, fish out.
Get all your bags, get out my house. I don't want your stuff around. I never did you wrong, but you did me wrong, so go ahead, get gone. Get all your bags, get out my house. I don't want your stuff around. I never did you wrong, but you did me wrong, so go ahead and get